little guy down here, this graphic, I didn't realize was there like till halfway through. So I had made a bunch of slides and then rearranged them to a better order that made more sense. So
Okay.
don't worry about that.
We don't see a thing.
Alright. Tell me when you're better, we're good. Alright, so I'm gonna be talking about cloud computing. Matt told me. What is cloud computing? Cloud computing is a process in which a business entity or person uses a network of servers hosted by the internet to process, manage, and store data. Essentially, it's using a third party to hold your information or to do something in particular with it. And by information, I mean your digital media or like digital information. Would be cloud computing. What are the different applications for cloud computing? Who's using it? Personal use, you can use it for your own personal use if you have a lot of like movies or videos or just media content in general. You can send it to a third party to store it. Business applications in-house would be similar to personal use, but on a business side, if you have a huge company with a lot of information, you need somewhere to store it. That brings other issues, which I'll get into later. Also, business applications, you could be a business which provides the service of holding your information, so it's kind of a duality there. Governments, obviously governments have a significant interest in keeping their information secure and being able to hold large amounts of information. Educational systems like our school and other schools definitely have a lot of information they need to keep secure and keep stored, as well as do other things, not just store information, but like build things and keep all of that, those projects and things somewhere else. What companies offer cloud services? Basically the big tech companies, and there's also some specialty companies which focus on just cloud computing. Well, some of the big ones like Google and Amazon obviously have a kind of a stranglehold on the market. Amazon began the earliest in 2006, and so they're kind of like the head. Google also released a bunch of products around the same time, 2006 to 2008. Apple also has something, Microsoft, really every tech company has some sort of solution for cloud computing. Amazon is king of the clouds. Amazon started, like I said, in 2006 with their Amazon Web Services, and so they've had kind of the greater advantage. As this thing has grown exponentially in use and people interested, they've increased people who are using Amazon Web Services. Right now, they currently are responsible for about 33% of the infrastructure used as a service. So this is more the storage side and just holding information. The Google App Engine. This one's particularly cool because it's not storing information, but it's kind of getting to the point I was bringing up of other things and creating projects. This allows you to go onto a third-party server and kind of create your own app and then save it there, keep all that information there, and then publish it using their own tools and servers. So you don't actually have to keep that all in-house or on your own personal devices. It's all on the internet and you can access it anywhere. Cloud computing stack. So the cloud computing stack refers to like the three main types. The first one, infrastructure as a service. Basically, this is where you, this is really what I understood as the heavy storage area. So if you have like 50 gigs of information you need to store and you're only allowed 15, then that other 35 you're gonna have to pay to store somewhere else. The second part would be platform as a service, in which it gives developers the tools to build and host web applications. So this is more similar to the Google App Engine. They also all have these little like tags here. So PaaS would be platform as a service, and then infrastructure as a service. The third, software as a service. This is also used for web-based applications. They all have similar ideas, but they're used slightly differently. So this would be building a web application with other tools, and then using those servers and tools to upload your final product once it's done. There's community cloud and distributed cloud. The community cloud shares infrastructure between several organizations from a specific community with a common concern, either security, application, jurisdiction, something like that. Essentially, this is a lot of people coming together to work, and then this is a distributed cloud. A cloud computing platform can be assembled from a distributed set of machines in different locations. So you can have a network made up of servers where all the computers are in different areas and locations, and they can kind of come together to create one solution or to have one common goal. So the public resource computing, this is kind of like what I was talking about with, oh sorry, that's more the volunteer cloud. This type of distributed cloud results from the expansive definition of cloud computing because they're making akin to distributing computing and cloud computing. Oh, that's not what I meant to put there. Volunteer cloud, this is the idea of where you can have a bunch of people just use their own personal computers or devices, and they all come together to make up a network, and then that network can function as a cloud where information can be uploaded, downloaded. So what is the cloud? Cloud computing / storage is essentially just sending your information to a data center. Data center is where remote servers are kind of housed, which can be in a variety of locations, or it can be in one massive location. And most of the big companies like Amazon and Google, they have multiple, but they also have a couple that are really consolidated and really, really big. And it's basically just warehouses of computers. But in the most basic sense, it could just be a single computer connected to the internet. Like I said, a database is typically comprised of hundreds of computers, but it could be comprised of just a few. They're all required to have the exact same information, and this is known as redundancy. And the reason that this is important is because if a part of the server goes down, they need to be able to access that information from a different part. So if you are using Amazon's web services to like build something, and then all of a sudden something goes wrong with a particular part of their server, but you want to be able to go on at 9 o'clock at night and finish your project, even if that portion of the server is damaged, you should be able to retrieve that information from a different part. Obviously, they use different power supplies for different parts for the same exact reason. What are the benefits really of cloud computing? It can be accessed anywhere, anywhere with internet access anyways. So if you have Wi-Fi or something, you can be camping as long as you have Wi-Fi and still work on that big project that's due, or work on a collaborative with people from your office. It also frees up a lot of space on your own personal devices, so you don't have to keep all of this on your computer or on, a hard drive or something. You can just upload it to the internet and it's there. You don't have to worry about it. It's also a bit safer because there's no chance that, or I shouldn't say there's no chance. There's less a chance that you can accidentally delete or lose a file or information because it's backed up in the cloud. So if you deleted a picture off your phone and you're like, man, I really wish I had a computer or that picture, you can just go to the cloud and just retrieve it as long as it's backed up or saved there. What are the cons? Depending on the size, it's not very customizable, and the functions do vary, but if you pick a particular function, it doesn't change very much, so you can't make it your own or kind of unique almost. Depending on the business needs, if you are a business, you can't even really use cloud computing because some of your information is just too sensitive. Like if you were a legal firm, you've got a ton of documents, but it's not like you can just upload all of those documents onto the cloud, because if someone were to hack you, all of a sudden they have all this information. Same with banks and other financial institutions. They can't really just upload this information because there's a chance that it's hacked or a third party can get to it. Can this cloud still make it rain? Yeah. So with Google Drive, you get 15 gigs free, and then after that, 100 gigs, it's $2 a month. And then for a terabyte is $10 a month. I'm not sure why you would need a terabyte of information, but some people might. OneDrive was considered to be the best option and the cheapest, and it's also 15 gigs free. 100 gigs is $2, 200 gigs for terabytes, $8. This chart down here shows the spending on cloud computing in the last couple of years, and then obviously 2020 is an expectation. But in 2018, there was $117 billion spent in the cloud computing industry, particularly on just storing information. So this talks a little bit about what the future of cloud computing kind of holds and where that could go. And this was an article from Forbes magazine. There will be an emergence of smarter computers among AI companies, and may we have viewed software over the last 4 years will no longer be relevant, meaning the days that when we used to type a query into an IBM system and get output back are far behind us. By leveraging large data sets, vertical SaaS, and workflows, software will be able to work for you. You will no longer need to click and enter information to get information out. Instead, the computer will just push information to you. So this is kind of like the idea that it's all there already. So instead of just searching for it, you just kind of, well, instead of inputting information, it's just there and you can just go retrieve it. In the future, the entire digital economy will be driven by SaaS, and how we regulate data privacy will be important. We also need to be able to make decisions taking into consideration the chance of being hacked. So this kind of goes into the privacy and sensitivity topic I was discussing earlier, where if you have information that you don't want hacked or disclosed to anyone else, cloud computing may not be the safest option at the moment, but obviously in the future, as companies get bigger and there's more digital information in the world every single day, every single second, they're going to need to come up with a way to make sure this is safer. So just to recap, cloud computing is basically just sending your information to a third party to hold, either to process, alter, or create a different product. What does the database look like? Oh, this was the kind of the idea of what the Amazon Web Services database looks like. It's just a software full of computers on racks, just very strong computers, solely there to work together to act as a cloud.